I'm gonna do something we've talked about a lot on the podcast and I've never done, but I'm gonna do a teaser same game parlay. I'm gonna tease the Chargers up to +7, and I'm gonna tease the total up to 38.5. So 4-point teaser. That's -110. Raiders don't put up points. Chargers, I don't think are gonna put up points this week with a guy named Easton Stick at quarterback. I think after watching the game against the Vikings, it's just this is going to be a crappy game. I'm going to take the touchdown just, as a void. Say they do lose, 21-14 or 14-10 or whatever it is, or 14-7. I can live with that. Take the void, get the void on the parlay, but I don't really have too much to say about this game. It's going to be a crappy game. Both offenses I don't think are going to be ticking. Both defenses aren't that great. I think it's just another Thursday nighter where you're like, wish they would have flexed this out, but obviously you didn't know Justin Herbert was going to get hurt. So I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Same game parlay teaser, Chargers +7 and under 38.5.
Yeah, well, real quick note, like the look ahead line on this game, which is something you don't usually see like change that much, because you were talking about drop off in quarterback, was -3.5 for the Chargers.
Yeah.
So that's how you know, like, this is a huge difference. And, like, I think it's one of those ones where you have to take the dog here. Like, I don't like the favorite because I think that there might be an overreaction. And when you're talking about two teams that are struggling to score right now, when you take low-scoring games, I think you want to look towards the underdog. Any team you're getting points with, I don't want to lay points with either of these teams right now. But, and there's a but here, is the fact that I saw quotes today where it was pretty much like these Chargers players were speaking in past tense, as if the season was over. Like, you got to feel bad for Keenan Allen, who has the most catches this year in the NFL. No one gives the guy credit. No one talks about this Chargers team in a good way. Eckler has been okay. But the fact of the matter is, they're talking about this in past tense. They don't really have faith in their quarterback. Easton Stick's been announced the quarterback for the rest of the season. Meanwhile, Aiden O'Connell and the Raiders could have 50 pass attempts, and he'll still only complete the ball 15 times. It's got to be the under for me, boys. I know it's prime time. It's been short and simple. We've been cashing a lot of these tickets. I'm going to do it again. 34.5, I think, is the current number, Noah?
34.
Yeah, 34.
I'm right with you. I'm right with you on the under. I mean, maybe it's one of those games that could all of a sudden turn into something. We've had a couple of those times this year where I've thought in the under on these low ones and just gotten smashed out of the water. But, yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, it's just more going to what the Raiders have done the last couple weeks. It's with the Chargers, I've seen them lay some eggs even with Herbert, but they don't really get it done for me. I mean, they have a quarterback coming in. I think he'll actually play a little bit better than what people might think. Like, just because he does have so many weapons, and you say, like, Keenan Allen, like, that's a guy any quarterback can throw to. Like, if you're on the roster of an NFL team and you have that guy on your team, like, that's an easy way to get some receptions. But these teams are just kind of a mess. Overall, like, all facets of the game, they're just a mess. Raiders put up 0 on the Vikings and tied the lowest scoring game of all time, 3-0.
Yeah.
Against a team that finally had to have after the Passionate had probably his best year as a quarterback in the NFL. Finally got benched again. Like that's a rough look for him. And they still lose a game to a guy who was a bench quarterback all of his career, who then gets benched again, and then that's tough.
I had under 16.5 team total for the Vikings in that game.
Yeah,
that might be one of my best bets I've had in years.
See,
like
yeah,
3-0,
and that's just one of those things where it's like, this is going to be we've had a bad Thursday night game so far this year with the Bears Vikings. This could rival it. It could. Just in terms of, like, I really don't have any faith into watching this game. Like, at least with the Vikings and Bears, it's like, okay, division rivalry. Maybe there's something that's going to come from this. This is just more like, yeah, sure, they're in the same division, but both of them aren't doing shit.
Also, both teams are, like, bottom of the league in third down conversion rate, which is crazy with the Chargers too. And, like, that's so important when you're betting unders, because teams that can turn third downs in the red zone into touchdowns, whereas they're just like you gave out a few kicker props. Actually, I've gotten into kicker props. I don't usually look at them until later in the week because the props aren't always out. This might be a good kicker game.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. That might be my new thing. Look at teams that are poor on third
That's what I
down
do.
conversion rates and take over on kickers.
Well, and one thing too is like look at those numbers early in the week because as the games get closer, they always get worse. Like during that Chicago Vikings game, I gave out the over 2.5, and we record this early, put it out pretty early. It was at plus 100, 5 field goals in the game, and like that was easy. That was one of my best bets of the year. Like at plus 100 to get 3 field goals, there was 4 or 5 in the game, and there was no touchdowns. Like that was great. But yeah, look at those early in the week. This one's probably gonna be like 3.5 is where it's gonna be probably even money, I'm assuming. But
so under for you. That's your official bet.
yeah, under overall
right.
in the game. But yeah, also just a tidbit: Brandon Staley is probably coaching for his job. So if you like one of the teams, you might want to go for the guy who might be coaching for his job.